G'day, this is Matt, and welcome to the latest edition of the Apprentice Toolbox. And this video series is an attempt to place at your fingertips some of the resources for actually living a life of faith. And today I'm going to talk about a tool for helping the vast majority of men and a significant percentage of women who are facing challenges with pornography. You see, because of the way the internet has grown and the development of the technology, porn use has just gone through the roof in the last, really 20 years. So much so now that according to one survey from 2014, 79% of 18 to 30-year-olds, 67% of 31 to 49-year-olds, and 49% of 50 to 68-year-olds say that they view porn at least once a month. And the statistics inside the church and outside the church are not a lot different. So what it means is, for me as a pastor, I know that whenever I'm getting up to preach, a significant percentage of the people I'm speaking to are wrestling with, feeling guilt about, or just having their lives affected by addiction to pornography. And I use the word addiction specifically because increasingly with neurology we know that watching pornography actually rewires the brain. And there are all these statistics available about the consequence of watching porn. And porn use has been linked to depression, a lack of energy, a whole range of very significant consequences. And also there are direct consequences for the potential of having healthy relationships. So pornography use is a big deal. And one of the challenges for any of us is, okay, well, it's one thing to say it's bad, but what do you do about it? And I'm not quick to advocate things that cost money, but sometimes you actually do have to spend a little bit of money to find resources that are helpful, and particularly for something that is as serious as this. I'm actually going to recommend to you a tool that costs money. It does. There's a monthly subscription, but it's a tool that will actually, if you're serious, if you know that you're tempted by or actively stuck in a cycle of viewing pornography, this tool could make a huge difference. The tool is called Covenant Eyes. It's I first came across it as a pastor in Canada, where the denomination paid for every single pastor associated with the denomination to have access to the software, because they did a review and said, look, this works. And they knew that one of the great challenges for pastors was viewing porn, which is sad, but it's also the truth. One of the realities is, if you're in any way feeling tired, or your relationships aren't going so well, we know that pornography is a temptation for anybody, particularly people who are feeling lonely and have access to the internet and are feeling a bit isolated. So it's a really big deal, and that's why the denomination paid for all the pastors in Canada to have access to it. And it's why I'm wanting to recommend it to anybody who is interested in getting their life back on track, if you're getting stuck in the habit of viewing pornography, because it really does suck the life out of you. For me personally, it was a real battle as a younger bloke, and it affected our marriage. It's something Leanne and I had to talk about and work through. So I know that porn is, I know the damage that viewing porn can do, and that's why I know that rather than just saying it's bad, having a tool to make a difference is what makes a difference. And so this Covenant Eyes software, you'll find it on their website, Covenant Eyes, COVENANT Eyes, all one word, .com. And how it works is you install software on your electronic devices. Now, it is available. Where are we? On Windows, Mac, iOS. That's your iPads and iPhones, Android, and Kindle Fire. And it uses software to monitor what you're looking at on the internet, and the real strength of it is as you step into this and acknowledge that you've got a problem, you find somebody to be an accountability partner. Initially, when I first did it and I was going in Canada, I invited my brother-in-law to be an accountability partner. And what the accountability partner does is just simply, all they do is get an email once a week that has a bit of a report about what you've been looking at online. This is an example of what an accountability report looks like. And you'll find all this on their website. There's an example accountability report. It says these are the kinds of things that may have been of concern. There's websites or mobile apps or things. And so you actually then, it's not just the app, but it's then the relationship you have with somebody else who will keep you accountable. And I'd really recommend that you find someone you can trust. I think it was Wise, the denomination said, look, if you're married, it's better that you find someone who's not your spouse, because often it can be a bit messy if you're asking your spouse to monitor you, because sometimes they may feel like it's a failure for them, or you want someone who, because your relationship with your husband or your wife is so precious and but also so complicated, that you want someone who can look you in the eye and say, "What are you doing?" So you know that whenever you go to the internet, this person will get a report. Now, you install the software on your computer, and it runs in the background, and it just monitors what you view, and it just flags if you're looking at stuff that's inappropriate. Now, it may feel like it's a bit extreme to have to sort of install some kind of what is effectively spyware on yourself and to be sending an accountability report to someone else. But the more I talk to particularly young blokes, but look, more than that, so many people, the more I realise this is just a profound issue that is affecting people's self-esteem, their mental health, and their ability to relate to others. And I for many people, and I think it's quite likely that a third of young blokes in any church, and certainly a good percentage of women as well, need this level of accountability. I know I did, and it made a huge difference for me. So that's the report. I said it does cost money, and that's the painful bit, because but it is a part of the reason it costs money is it's a service that is being provided every day, and they're having to maintain their service and all that kind of thing. It costs $11.99 American for the personal version of it, or you can pay $15.99 and put accounts and give accounts to everybody in your family, and it can be on an unlimited number of devices using that account. So that so there's $15.99 American, which is I guess like $20, and $11.99, which I guess like $16 Australian. What happens is you can then download for your iPad. There's a Covenant Eyes browser, and you use that to browse the internet rather than the standard Safari, and you kind of disable the Safari thing. But there's also it creates a VPN that monitors your internet usage, and that's how that works for for your iOS devices, similarly for other devices. So on your phones, on your iPads, your tablets, you can use it in all these different places. And it's just a very pragmatic response to what is a pretty serious problem. In addition to that, they have on that site, even if you're just wanting to understand the issue of porn, they have a whole bunch of resources. They have ebooks about some of the neurology and how it works. They've got the impact on your brain. They've got books on how to replace a lifestyle of porn viewing with lifestyle other things, and books about strategies and how to deal with it. They've got some resources on how do you come clean? How do you tell people what's been going on? And I know that is one of it's helpful they've got a document about that or a book about that, because for many people they're thinking, I can't tell anyone that I've been battling with this because I want people to think that I'm a good person. When being addicted to something doesn't mean you're not a good person. It just means you're addicted. And the first step of dealing with it is always just being honest. So they've got a whole bunch of resources there about how it works, and just so even if you're not going to get the software, I encourage you to read some of those resources and inform yourself about just how significant an issue pornography really is. Because if we in the church are really going to be about helping people become who Jesus created them to be, this is one issue that is holding so many of our people back. And we need to be straight, and we need to be looking at some of the resources like this. So the resource is called Covenant Eyes. You'll find it at covenanteyes.com. And I'd recommend that you install it on all your devices, and then it's just clear. It will deal with the temptation to get sucked into a lifestyle that is going to damage you and damage the relationships that God has for you in the future and for now. So covenanteyes.com, there's a whole bunch of resources there. You'll see you have like a control page for your own account and how all that works. And so I encourage you. A very simple tool that can make a pretty big difference. It's called Covenant Eyes. And although it does cost a bit of money, it's one of those things that I think for anybody in any kind of leadership in the church, or anybody who really wants to take faith seriously, even if this isn't an issue for you, by installing this and creating a norm that says this is kind of a normal way to do it, you'll be helping those for whom it is an issue, and you'll be removing the stigma that might be associated with having software like this on your computer. And we know just how big a deal it is. So I want to encourage you, Covenant Eyes, it's a software. I think there's probably other ones out there, but this is the one I know about, and I'd recommend it. So until next week, I hope you can continue on this journey with Jesus, because it really is. When he says he is the way, the truth, and the life, he's not kidding. And let's get rid of any other ways to try and find life, because this is the only way that we find life. Okay.